Hi, my name is Michelle Brownridge, and I am the Communications Coordinator at SAS Culture, and today I am going to walk you through a tutorial about how to register a Culture Days activity. Now, this tutorial was made in 2015, so if you're watching this video in the future, there might be some changes to the system, but it should probably remain similar and should be a good overview for you regardless. Thanks, and I hope that this tutorial helps you understand how to register a Culture Days activity.
Okay, so the first thing that you need to do to register a Culture Days activity is go to www.culturedays.ca, and you're going to want to log in to an account. So if you have registered a Culture Days activity in the past, you will have an account, and maybe you've forgotten your password to that account, but that's okay because you can just click on this forgot your password link here, and Culture Days will send you a password reset link to whatever email you have on file on the account. If you're new to Culture Days and you don't have an account yet, you can either sign up through Facebook or you can create a Culture Days account through your email address. Either option will work just fine. Since I already have a Culture Days account, I'm just going to go ahead and log in. So I know my email login and I know my password, so I've got those entered, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit submit, and that should log me in. So now you'll notice it looks like you're still on the same page, but where you want to go to register your activity is My Culture Days. And click on the big purple button, Register Your Activity Now. Now there are several tips and tools that Culture Days has developed to help make the activity registration process easier and to help you learn how to write more interesting and descriptive activity descriptions and all sorts of things like that. And those resources are all available under tips and tools. There are so many resources and tips and tools in that section. I really encourage you to take a moment and check it out and see what's there for you before you get into registering your activity. So I'll leave you to that. Look at that on your own. I won't go through that in this tutorial, but just, that's where they are and that's where you can get to them. So next step, click on Register Your Activity Now. So when you get to this page, you have two options. You can add a new activity, or you can create a past activity, create from last year. So say for example, you had an activity last year and you're going to do something very similar or the same for Culture Days this year. Instead of typing out all the information and activity description and all of the stuff that you need to do, you can just click here and see the activities that you registered last year. So here, for example, are some of the activities that I registered last year for Culture Days. And if I wanted to take one of these and do it again, I would just be able to hit this import button here and it would import. And then that way I can just update the details that I need to update and not have to recreate the wheel every year. So it's a really good feature that Culture Days has added into this system. But I'm not going to do that for this tutorial. I'm going to show you how to create an activity from scratch. If you've already been through the process of creating an activity, this create from past year should be fairly intuitive and a really good time-saving feature for you if you want to use it. So we're going to click here on Add a New Activity. And the first thing that you have to do off the bat is click I have read and agreed to the terms and conditions. And then basically you just start filling out the information. So the activity that I'm going to register today is the Regina Culture Days launch and flag raising ceremony. So So it gives you a character limit, so you can't, have a very, very long Culture Days activity name, but it's long enough that you should be able to get whatever you need in there. The activity organizer is myself from SAS Culture. And we are an other. We are a non-profit organization. So one of the other great things about this activity registration system is that if you don't know all of your details, that's okay. You can go ahead and fill in what you know at this point in time, and either save your activity as a draft or even publish it and then be able to come back into it later and edit and add details as you see fit. So right now I don't know what will happen with this activity in case of rain, so I'm going to leave that blank and just move on. Yes, my activity is wheelchair accessible. So an activity description. So here you're limited by 120 words maximum. And they've got direct links to some of the tips and tools, resources that I spoke about earlier right here, kind of ready for you to use. So be sure to check those out. But I've already got my activity description ready. I've got it kind of just sitting here waiting for me to copy and paste it. So I'm going to copy that, paste that in here. So you can see if I needed to add some more information later on, I've still got about 53 words left in my activity description, so I'd be able to do that. I don't have a link for more information right now to add in here, so I'm just going to leave that blank. So the dates and time section. So this is where you're going to enter what time and date your activity is, obviously. And you'll see that there's only 3 date options. So the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. That's because to be an officially registered Culture Days activity, the activity has to happen over the course of the Culture Days weekend, which is always the last weekend of September. And this year, in 2015, it's on the 25th, 26th, and 27th. So our Culture Days launch is going to be on Friday, September 25th, and it's going to start at 11:30 in the morning, and it's going to run until 1 p.m. Now, for example, if I had another part of this activity that was going to happen in the afternoon, or I was going to be doing an activity on 2 separate days, we can just click here and add another date and time for the activity. I don't have that isn't appropriate for this activity, so I'm just going to click this little X and cancel that off there, but just wanted to point that out as an option for you if that is appropriate for your activity. So now that we're done this page, I'm just going to show you how to save your changes. So you're just going to hit Save Changes, and that'll make sure that anything we've done so far is there. And you can see a little confirmation comes up, so thank you, the details have been saved, and I can see that I've last saved this at 12:30 p.m. So we're going to go ahead here and click Next after we've saved. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the address of where the activity is going to be held here, and I know it's going to be held at Regina City Hall, so the address for that is 2476 Victoria Avenue in Regina, Saskatchewan. And you can add in this box, you can add kind of just a descriptor of where your activity is going to be. So just a few instructions to help people find your activity. So I can say here, this event is held at Regina City Hall in the Queen Elizabeth II courtyard. And then another really important part of the Culture Days activity registration system is the map component, and that's run by postal code. So I'm just going to find the postal code for Regina City Hall here and enter that in the postal code box, and it's going to pop up. The map's going to change here, and what you're going to want to do is zoom in a little bit and see if that's in the right spot. And I definitely don't think that that is in the right spot. So I am just going to see if I can drag that over here to Regina City Hall right there. So now the activity location on the map is in the correct location. So, and it confirms that with you. If it's not and you're not able to drag it around to the right spot where you need it to be, you can click this option and somebody from Culture Days will contact you and try and get that map location in the right spot. But thankfully we were able to drag it and get it in the right spot here, so I'm just going to hit next. So now here is where we categorize the types of activity, the types of activities that are happening, and this helps people in searching for what kind of activities they're interested in participating in. So what type of activity is this going to be? So is it a hands-on activity? Potentially, yes. I think that might be the best category for this out of these options. We will be having a hands-on component of the activity, so I'm going to click that. And I don't think that there's really a secondary type, so I'm just going to click not applicable. And then here we choose the kind of activity category. What best describes the activity? So we're going to have quite a few different interactive activities. So I'm going to choose multi or interdisciplinary, and I'm not going to choose a secondary category for this one either. So now here's where you can choose some appropriate keywords for your activities. So I'm just going to kind of go through and pick all that I think apply. So family friendly, all ages, arts and crafts, let's see, outdoors, adults. We can go with that for now. And then I'm also going to add some other ones. So launch, flag raising. That's good for now, I think. I can always come back in and make more changes after I've done this. So I'm also just going to save my changes again, just because I don't want to, lose any of those. So there we go, success. Everything's been saved, and you can see that last saved time updates to 12:35. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next. So this is your contact information. And if you were entering this information on the behalf of another person, you would check this box. I'm not. I'm entering it on behalf of myself. So my name is Michelle Brownridge. And communications media contact, that's just going to be me again. Okay, so then I'm just going to hit next on that. So now here is where you can add an image, and I would highly encourage you to add an image. It just makes the activity look so much more enticing, and I'll just show you what I mean here when I go to the Saskatchewan Culture Days webpage and I go to the activities list of all the things that are happening in Saskatchewan, you can see these are the ones that haven't yet uploaded an image, and you can see the few ones here that have, and you can just see how much more exciting even just uploading a simple document with your logo, or maybe if you have a photo of some of your Culture Days activity last year, maybe you can use that. But it just makes it look really exciting to see what the activity might actually look like, and it makes it a little bit more enticing for people who might be trying to figure out what they're doing over the course of the Culture Days weekend. So I'll just want to show you where that was used on the other end of the system. So we'll go back to the activity registration area. So I've already prepared an image for this purpose, and it's just saved on my desktop. And there it's uploading, and there it is. So I'm going to hit save. And so now I'm pretty much ready to publish the activity. So in order to do that, I'm going to save my changes one more time. And to publish, we have to enter this CAPTCHA code. And these are little codes that are used to prove that I'm not a spam bot, that I'm an actual human being, and that I can type this code in. So capital VJM7K. And I'm just going to hit publish. So it says success. I can see now that the activity status has changed from draft to live, and it's now registered on the website. So now I'm going to go here and kind of show you where you can try and find your Culture Days activity that you just published. So to get to this page, we've gone here and gone to the drop down in Saskatchewan, because that's where I'm from and working from. And I'm going to click here and go to activities in Saskatchewan, and here's where you can find your search. So I'm going to search by city, Regina, and our newly registered launch and flag raising ceremony, it now appears in the Culture Days activity listing for Regina. And we can click on it. So here it is. We can see that the location is still correct, and everything looks great.